الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear brothers, Sahaba Radwan Allah alayhim, companion of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they asked Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam about the test, the trial. Who are the people, subhanallah al-azim, they will face the severe trial? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam answered to them, al-anbiya. The heaviest test, the heaviest trial will be on the anbiya. And then who? Thumma al-amthal. That people, subhanallah, they have very strong faith below the anbiya. And then it goes on and on like that until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests every single one according to the level of his faith in his heart. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give you a trial or a test stronger than the faith you have. Because if the faith, subhanallah, the test become stronger than the faith you have in your heart, some people might reject the deen in total. Subhanallah al-azim. And if there is some strings on your face, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase the test on you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us strong, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let's pay attention carefully, my brothers. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, 3 days before his death, told Abdullah ibn Jabir radiyallahu anhu, he heard Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, none of you dies. It means do not die unless you have, subhanallah, good expectation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is an ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this ayah as a question mark. Let's pay attention to this ayah carefully. And let's think about ourselves. If we put ourselves into this ayah here, where are we going to be? فَمَا ظَنُّكُمْ? And what do you think? Subhanallah, what are your thoughts about the Lord of the world? The answer of that, each and every one of us can answer right now. In our heart we can answer, good. We have good expectation about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the true answer will come out when you are tested. If a trial came to you, that will wake you up and tells you what type of person you are. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us from our shortcoming, Ya Rabbil Alameen. So here, my brothers, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, his story, there are a lot of lessons from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. One of them is having a good expectation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They took him as a young boy. Who took him? His brothers. Subhanallah, people that he trusted most, his older brothers, they took him. A young boy, he wants to go and have fun, play with his brothers. They throw him into the depth of that well. Imagine. If we want to think about that, if we want to imagine that, we cannot comprehend that at all. Inside the depth of that well, what is he thinking of? How come he's patient? Why he's not screaming? None of this is being mentioned in the ayah. He was quiet, totally silent in the darkness. Subhanallah. And imagine his brothers, they were coming day after day to watch if he will come out or not. One day, while they are hiding away, they saw a caravan of people, they want to take water from this well. Subhanallah, they removed Yusuf alayhi salam from the depth of this well, a young boy. They were happy about finding a young boy from here, they will sell him away. But his brothers, they came running toward those people and they said, this is our slave, we will sell it. We will sell our slave for you. And they sold him, subhanallah al-azim, with a few quits. This is Yusuf, who's going to be a prophet, son of prophet, sold as a slave. So imagine the trial, from his brothers abandoning him, throwing him in the well, selling him as a slave, and they sold him again as a slave in Egypt. Spent his time in Egypt as a slave until he became adult. And subhanallah, the queen of Egypt seduced Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, Ma'ad Allah, I seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from falling into this type of sin. And from saying this, he paid the price by staying in prison for it. Imagine that the wife of the king puts you in prison. In your head, you will think this is a life sentence. There is no way out of it. Still, he's hopeful, trusting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And subhanallah al-azim, he is sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get him out of this. Inside the prison, his manner, the way he carried himself, subhanallah al-azim, became example for the prisoners. Two of the prisoners, they did not ask anyone when they saw the vision or dream. They came to ask Yusuf alayhi salam, Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We see you as those who are good doers. Can you tell us or can you translate the dream for us? Yusuf alayhi salam translated the dream for them, and that was the opening door for Yusuf alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for him until he became a minister in Egypt. From a slave to a minister in Egypt. One of us can go through smallest trial, subhanallah al-azim, and we crumble so easily. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us strength, Ya Rabbil Alameen. One of us can be tested between halal and haram. The halal is far away. The haram is nearby here. He will say, what can I do? I have to go for it. I have to take it. The smallest test, subhanallah al-azim, for something that which is not even necessary. A person will go to the haram easily. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us strength, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And when you look at the story of Ayyub alayhi salam, he was sick on a bed for years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him on his health, on his wealth, and on his family. Scholars, they said Ayyub alayhi salam had 14 sons. All of them, they died while he was sick on a bed, subhanallah al-azim. And then all his wealth is gone. Popularity, people who were surrounding him all the time, they disappeared. The only one who was serving him, his loyal wife, she was in and out, helping him every day. When he did dua and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he did not say, oh Allah, why? What did I do? I'm supposed to be a prophet. I'm supposed to be a messenger. Why all this? What's happening? What's going on? No. Rabbi anni massani ad-dur. He did not even say, oh Allah, you gave me the sickness. He referred the sickness, subhanallah al-azim, that something that struck me, something bad happened to me, my Lord. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his dua, gave him his health immediately, and gave him his 14 sons not long after that. And he doubled it for him, made another 14 sons, they became 28. And his wealth came back. At the end of this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala referred to all the believers. If you are going through this type of test, this is one of the highest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get you out of it as long as you have faith and you have sabr and you trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will find a way out for you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for all of us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And when you see the story of subhanallah al-azim, the noon, إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. He was doing da'wah to his people, and his people, Yunus alayhi salam, they don't want to listen to him. He became angry and left without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thought that these people, this is it, they are going to be punished. Once he left, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished him for this, going without a permission. He ended up in the depths of the ocean, the darkness of the ocean, inside the belly of a well. In that place, he was saying, La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. The angels were shocked. This voice is familiar to us. And we stop few seconds here, my brothers. If you have credit with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's not only, subhanallah, I have good expectation on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we are doing nothing. No. If you have credit, that means you are doing good. You are following, subhanallah al-azim, the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to your level best. Doing your salah, subhanallah, and doing your zakah if you are one of those people who can give zakah, and doing anything that which is good, and you are doing your level best, that you have credit on the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get you out of any trouble if you fall into it, subhanallah. Here, the angels were shocked. We know this voice. It's a familiar voice to us. But the place where it's coming from is very strange. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his dua. And subhanallah saved him from the belly of this well and from the depths of ocean to the safety or to the land. And also, this test here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised the believers that if you fall into this type of calamity, this type of disaster will get you out of it as long as you have credit and you have faith on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us from our shortcoming, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on the right path, Ya Rabbil Alameen.